Hi, everybody. Justine Froelker here, author, speaker, corporate trainer, and certified Daring Way and Dare to Lead Facilitator. And this is the space that we talk about courageous resilience in a really imperfect way with a lot of emotion, and where I teach you the daily skills, tools, and language to make real change in your life so that you can live with courage and love with grace and choose curiosity. Today is the release date of my fourth or fifth book, my first devotional, Rest and Receive, which is the result of my current health struggle with trigeminal neuralgia. And I started getting these visions from God, which if you've been watching or listening, no matter where you're watching and listening, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or a podcast player, and you've loved all of me and stuck around, you've heard a couple of visions that I've gotten. And so that's what Rest and Receive is. It's a book of devotionals and kind of breath prayers to remind you that you're loved and that we are covered by the comfort of a God who never leaves us, even and most especially when it's really, really dark, which right now it still feels dark. It's 2020. It still feels dark. And this week, just a few days ago, we got the news that Chadwick Boseman died of colon cancer. And Black Panther it's probably my favorite Marvel movie, to be honest. And outside of the massive grief and sorrow of this man who gave us a brilliant superhero who actually was a superhero, it reminded me of what we read all the time and yet seems to be really easily forgotten during this year. You don't know what someone is battling unless you ask. For me, this last year, through some health battles, I have felt like a terrible friend. I have been frustrated. I feel like sometimes I have nothing left to give outside of my job, of like what actually supports my family. And I always kind of worry if I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, right? Like to my relationships, to my work, to my online community, things like that. And when we got the news of Chadwick's death, it reminded me, like, he gave us brilliant films while battling cancer, really bad cancer. He gifted us his light and his talent. There's two things to this. One, to choose curious grace. When someone's not quite giving you what you want and need, or upholding your standards, or doing what you think is right, what would it be like for you to choose curiosity and grace? To ask if they're okay. To wonder what they might be battling behind the scenes that you don't know about. The other thing that came up for me was, may we also dare not compare ourselves, because that entered my mind when I heard of the news of his death. Like, well, shit, he was brilliant battling stage 3 and 4 colon cancer, and I've got this nerve pain that I want to rip off my head, and I am really struggling in the dark. I should be blah, 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 blah. That's not helpful either. What if we extended this curious grace towards ourselves also? As I have always taught, we cannot give what we do not have. I will give myself the gift of curious grace so that I can give it to others. I will check my judgments, my frustrations with myself and with others. And of course, I Googled and I wanted to find scripture, and Ephesians 2:7 popped up immediately. And you can read it in whatever translation you like. I kind of wrote down a combination of, I call it a Justine translation. I am not a Bible translator. However, I really love words. So even though I am terrible at editing, but Ephesians 2:7, verse 7, throughout the ages, may we be the visible display of the infinite and limitless riches of God's grace and kindness, that which we have received from him. and that which we give to ourselves to give to others. So today, no matter what the battle is you are fighting, or the frustrations or things that are popping up for you when it comes to this crazy world that we are in, or someone who you love and trust, what if today we lived out as the visible display of the limitless riches of God's grace and kindness? Let's add a little bit of curiosity, because then it's easier to choose courage. We really need that light. And if you want a little bit of creative comfort, come crawl in the blanket fort with me, and let me tell you about God's cover and comfort in Rest and Receive, now available on Amazon. And if you've read it or listened to it, I would love a review. This is life of a self-published author, of a girl who is obedient and didn't even know about this book 60 days ago. Today, may we choose curious grace toward ourselves and especially toward others, because then we are the reflection of who God really is. Thanks for being here, no matter where you're watching or listening. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.